On June 17, 2020, after months of the COVID-induced lockdown, the Premier League sprang back to life. Aston Villa clashed with Sheffield United at Villa Park, with the visitors vying for a Europa League spot, and the hosts desperately trying to avoid relegation in their first season back in England's top flight. Just before halftime, Ollie Norwood whipped in a free kick from the left wing. Villa's goalkeeper aimed to catch the ball, with his effort propelling him backward and crossing the goal line, colliding with the side netting in the process, still clasping the ball in his hands. Now, back in the day, that would have been a clear goal, and Sheffield United players celebrated what they thought was obvious. But referee Michael Oliver waved play on, ignoring protests and gesturing to his watch to signal that it hadn't alerted him to confirm the ball's complete crossing over the line. The game ended in a draw, turning out to be one of the season's most crucial matches for Villa. It was one of the most recent examples of goal line technology failing, but it wouldn't be the last time technology in football came under intense scrutiny. The video assistant referee has received some of the most intense backlash anything has ever received in sport, and while most of it is extremely justifiable, some of it has been, dare I say, unfair. But has VAR been a complete failure in modern football? FIFA amended the laws of the game in 2018 to include VAR, and according to its governing principles, VAR was to be used to assist the main referee in reviewing 4 types of match-changing events, where there are clear and obvious errors, or serious missed incidents. And to achieve these objectives, VAR would have to operate under the philosophy of minimal interference, maximum benefit. But one of the biggest concerns that came out about the technology was that it would slow down the game, and that's been the sort of de facto consensus for a while now, especially since its inception. But the data say otherwise. IFAB and University in Leuven in Belgium did a study that dug into 972 nail-biting matches with VAR, spanning 20-plus national associations since March 2016. The takeaway was VAR steals, just 55 seconds on average, barely a blip compared to free kicks, throw-ins, goal kicks, corners, and substitutions. VAR's time loss is a mere 1% of the game, making it more of a quick interruption than game-breaking, so it doesn't actually slow down the game, not really. From 2012 to 2023, in the Premier League, total match time trended up, but in-play minutes took a dip and has been on the decline since before VAR was introduced. But the game got a makeover in the 2023-24 season, clocking an average of 59 minutes and 3 seconds of in-play time per game, a 4-minute boost from the previous season. So objectively, VAR has not been a net negative in football, at least in terms of how it affects the flow of the game. And IFAB's 2019 report shows it shot up decision accuracy from 93% to 98.9%. But despite only making an appearance in about 1 in every 3 games, it seems like VAR is getting more criticism than praise. Why? Because in football, moments weigh heavier than events, and a 2-minute hiccup can outshine a 90-minute event. But what was life like without VAR? We've all groaned at the nerve-wracking offside calls, unfair red cards, or those gut-wrenching penalty kicks. We both know that VAR didn't erase these issues, but the data suggests it drastically reduced them. So why does it feel like VAR is still the bad guy? No one can deny that it's reduced the spontaneity and excitement of celebrating a goal or a penalty, because you know, or sense, these may be overturned by VAR after a delay. I would even go as far as to mention VAR taking away from the human element and the drama of refereeing, basically making the game too robotic and predictable. The match between Manchester United and Fulham in November 2023 saw the term subjective offside take the spotlight when Scott McTominay's goal was disallowed due to Harry Maguire apparently interfering play from a seemingly offside position. This has always been an issue with how officials used VAR. Of course, the technology has this tendency to be overly precise in scrutinizing offside situations, relying on thin lines and marginal measurements, but the problem lies in defining where the margins begin. Is it fair to disallow a goal or award a penalty for a mere fraction of an inch of a handball or a toe over the line? The offside rule, originally meant to preventing goal hanging, wasn't intended to penalize minor positional advantages. But VAR's accuracy and consistency in offside decisions remain questionable, influenced by camera angles, timing of freeze frames, and the apparently very subjective interpretation of the VAR team, which is why we have subjective offsides now. Even FIFA President Gianni Infantino acknowledged the need for improvement in this area. We have looked into all the details and benefits it can bring. Of course, we need to speed up the reviews and the communication to the referees that are applying it, but also for the general public. FIFA says the offside rule is cut and dry, defining it as: a player is in an offside position if any part of their head, body, or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. So while the technology is simply highlighting the rule as it's written and defined, the officials are the ones enforcing the decision. So, for something as supposedly objective as an offside rule, why does the decision, especially after being reviewed by VAR, feel so subjective? Dr. Puya Soltani from the University of Bath might have an answer. He did a study on how accurate VAR actually is, and concluded that while it's useful for preventing obvious mistakes, it's currently not precise enough to give accurate judgments every single time. My research found that the ball was kicked 132 milliseconds earlier than the participants perceived, which doesn't sound like much, but in a fast-paced game, it could be long enough for the players to be in a different location, and therefore could potentially change the outcomes of offside, the doctor said. VAR is like a tech wizard in football, but it's not the boss. People call the shots on when and how to use it. VAR doesn't play mind games. It doesn't know how to. Even though it tries to cut down on referee slip-ups or biases, humans still play a key role. So when refs make mistakes, something they've always done since the invention of the sport, can we really blame VAR for that? Mistakes happen, biases creep in. We'll probably never be able to completely eliminate every VAR error that football fans deem unfair or biased. But a review of some of the rules around the use of technology could offer better clarity.